What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be discussing the leaks on Reddit for Spider-Man 2 on the PS5. Now, I usually don't cover leaks because they are typically full of shit, and I'm inclined to think the same on this one, but regardless, we're going to be going through the leaks, and also for your convenience, I've broken up the topics into little chapters on the timeline, so if something piques your interest, you can go ahead and click on that to be taken to that timestamp. As always, if you like the video, please go ahead and leave it a like, and also subscribe to the channel if you want more Spider-Man news. But before we get into the topics themselves, I want to talk a little bit about why I think this person is lying. Number one, there is no proof or evidence that they work for Insomniac like they claim. I would be just as equally credible if I made a throwaway account, said I work at Insomniac, and started answering questions. By saying it's a throwaway account, they also have the safety net of saying, well, I can't show proof because otherwise I'd get fired. So it's very, very hard to trust someone who's just saying random things online without any proof and having the safety net of, oh, I'll just lose my job. Secondly, the changes or so-called leaks are very, very predictable or safe. Only a few stand out as being a little weird or out there, but for the most part, most of these changes are in everyone's prediction videos or top 5 once in the games and all that sort of stuff. And from what this person is saying, the game isn't really changing too much from the original Spider-Man on the PS4 and Miles Morales games, just minor improvements, which to me doesn't really make that much sense. And lastly, some of the points just straight up contradict one another, and I'll get into that in a bit as well. But let's get into the leaks, starting off with some villains. Now obviously with the new Spider-Man game there are going to be new villains, however two of the most notable ones are Lizard and Mysterio. Throwaway says that Lizard appears briefly in a cutscene at the start of the game, don't know anything else, but it's a possible side mission. Mysterio has a funny side mission as well. They're also said that Kraven has a bunch of henchmen like we see in the trailer as well, again very, very safe. Moving on to the Venom related things. Someone asked if Harry and Eddie are both in the game and if Peter works at the Daily Bugle. Throwaway confirms that Peter is a part-time professor at ESU, which is a university in the game. Harry is in the game, however Brock isn't. In relation to when Peter gets the black suit, someone asked, do you know if the black suit is more organic looking or is recolored advanced suit? Second question, is there a chance a Lizard might show up? Throwaway does say that it starts as a recolor advanced suit and becomes more organic over time. Other suits don't have that evolution. In relation to the spider symbol, he does say that it is a white spider of Peter's advanced suit, but it's more unrecognizable as it distorts and it's veiny. So it does appear that this suit does become a little more organic, but this is something that I predicted in my last top 5 video. I'm not saying that this person watched my video. All I'm trying to say here is that the predictions are very, very safe. If an idiot like me can come up and say, oh hey, I want the suit to be more organic, it's not that hard for someone to go online and say the same things. Next, someone asked, is Venom a character that we've already seen in the last 2 games? They say yes, however, it's not going to be either Eddie or Harry. Obviously, we haven't seen Eddie, we've seen him in Easter eggs, but it's not going to be Harry despite him being in the tank of water with the symbiote himself. Back to when you have the suit as Spider-Man, someone asked, will we get to use the symbiote suit and what are the powers like? Throwaway does say it's somewhat understated compared to what has been in games like Web of Shadows. You don't toggle it on and off, it's just enabled during the first half of the story. It gives you rage abilities that spend your bar, and you have to obviously build that up, similar to how Miles' Venom worked. They then further elaborate, saying that the black suit abilities use symbiote tendrils to fight, conveniently for tendrils, basically mimicking the Iron Spider arms on the back of the suit, and obviously the suit that you see in the trailer with the white arms. So Peter rids himself of the suit and it ends up on a certain character. Peter loses badly and nearly dies to the resulting new Venom and builds new white arms, which we see in the trailer. Apparently these arms are now canon. With these arms we basically have the exact same abilities and powers as we would have with the black suit, which to me doesn't make any sense at all. How are you going to go from a black suit that enhances absolutely everything to just having some extra arms put on with the Iron Spider suit and have it feel like it's the exact same Spider-Man? That doesn't make any sense, and for a company like Insomniac who go well and truly above, it doesn't make sense that they kind of take the lazy way out here. Back to Venom themselves, someone asked, can you play as Venom? And Throwaway said no playable Venom at the moment. In relation to Venom's origin, they did say that the symbiote was created by Oscorp rather than it being an alien that has somehow found its way to Earth. Moving into the swinging and traversal, someone asked if you can free roam around the city as Peter and Miles in their civilian clothes. However, Throwaway has confirmed that that is not going to be possible unless it's part of a mission. One thing that people are using to say this is a legitimate leak is this comment here. So when asked about the swinging speed and any kind of improvements, Throwaway does say that it's around 1.7 to 1.8 times faster than in the previous 2 games. Again, a very safe bet to say, hey, let's improve the swinging speed, which was one of the biggest complaints from the previous 2 Spider-Man games. There is supposedly another feature where you hold L2 and you can climb up your web line, and this ability will be available for both Peter and Miles. It did say somewhere else in the thread as well that when you upgrade your Peter Parker, it also applies to Miles Morales, and they're going to be around the same power sets throughout the game. Again, doesn't really make much sense because Peter is way more experienced than Miles. When it comes to their swinging style or differences, Throwaway does say they'll have unique animations, but will be the same physics wise. Miles' animations have tightened up a little bit, and we've loosened Peter to make him feel less clunky. Throwaway also confirmed that wall combat is a thing, but it is rough around the edges right now. They did also say that it's pretty situational in the final game, and the game takes place immediately, no more than a month after the final credit rolls of the Miles Morales game. So there you go, even more safe predictions, faster swinging, different animations and wall combat, all things that people have been asking for before. Now let's move on to the suits. In relation to the gadgets, all the gadgets return and some are redone. You can equip 5 at once, 1 black variant suit per suit, excluding the advanced 2.0 suit which we saw in the new trailer. That one evolves over time. There are going to be about 10 to 15 new suits for Peter and roughly 5 new ones for Miles. All other previous suits from previous games return in this game too. Every single suit, as I said before, has a black version of it, and also the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit will be in this game. So someone asked, is there going to be a swap mechanic in the game, switching between Miles or Peter, or do they both have their own storyline within the game? Throwaway comments to say that there's one main story that both Miles and Peter are experiencing. Most missions allow you to choose either Miles, Peter, or tag team, where one will largely remain in stealth or fight enemies far away while you play. There's a whole team of engineers working on just AI for this reason. So this seems like it could be a very well split down the middle kind of thing. And it really ultimately feels like it's going to be up to the players to decide which Spider-Man they want to use. The answer that contradicts this is when someone asked, you say the story is split between Peter and Miles, like 50-50 or 80-20. How much time does each get? Throwaway then says it's 80-20, very much a Peter story with Miles backing him up. I don't understand how there's going to be an ability to change between Miles and Peter at the player's will, and it's going to be very split, but then also be 80% a Peter Parker story. In that all missions can be played as Miles and Peter, and the missions and story relate to both Miles and Peter, but have it be an 80% Peter Parker story. That is one contradiction that really threw up a red flag for me. Moving on to the collectibles and side missions, they did say that the collectibles are very similar to Spider-Man 1 and Miles, and in relation to the side missions, Throwaway did say that the side missions are pretty integral to the story and it's hard to get into without spoiling things. He will say that they are a lot more engaging, and there's very little walking around and interacting with shit like there is in Spider-Man 1. When you are walking around and interacting, it's when major story beats are happening. But guys, those were the most notable things that I picked up from this thread. As I said before, the thread is linked in the description below if you want to go through. There are over 200 questions and replies and all that sort of stuff. I, again, think this is pretty fake because everything is super easy to predict. It's in pretty much everyone's top 5 wants or top 5s don't want to see kind of videos. But let's give this guy the benefit of the doubt and say that this is true. It is a little bit disappointing that the black suit doesn't really change or impact the way that you control Peter, and you just get a set of Iron Spider arms, and you basically have no difference in feel from when you have the black suit versus when you give it up. That doesn't really make that much sense, especially from Insomniac as a company who is known to go above and beyond. It doesn't make sense that they would just be kind of lazy in that regard. It is also a little disappointing that you can't be Venom or have him be a playable character. I think that that would be integral for for making him a compelling villain, so we get to know his sort of origin and also what his motivations are. It is a little strange that he is not going to be either Eddie or Harry, but apparently he's going to be someone we've already been introduced to in the actual game themselves. I can't think of anyone who it might be, or anyone who I would want it to be if it's not going to be Eddie or Harry. But guys, that is going to be the video today. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you believe these leaks? Are you disappointed in some? Are you looking forward to some of these changes? And I guess ultimately we won't know if this person is lying or telling the truth until this game comes out in 2023. Or at least provides some kind of proof. As I said before, it's all very safe to say that you work at Insomniac on a burner account without providing proof. So I'm going to be erring on the side of caution and saying that this is fake until I see some actual proof. I don't usually cover leaks too often because more often than not they turn out to be fake and people are just looking for clout online. But as I said before, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like the video, please go ahead and leave it a like. Discord is in the description, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye.